Tonight, as shoppers hit the malls, authorities warn of Grinches out there looking to rob you of your holiday spirit. A message for Ford drivers why the car maker is recalling nearly 90,000 vehicles. And they were running smoothly, but traffic near the Strip was at a standstill in some spots. We'll explain.
This is News 3 at 11 with Gerard Ramalho.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Holiday shopping has been underway now for more than a week. We just, in fact, had Black Friday not too long ago. Shoppers are hitting the stores, but they are not alone. Criminals see this month as a key period to do what they do best. News 3's Rob Munoz joins us live in studio tonight. Rob, you were out with some shoppers earlier today.
Yeah, Gerard, everyone seems to be in a great spirit, but you talk to most and they're aware of the dangers out there. But while they're digging into their Christmas list, it's also easy to lose track of what exactly you have with you. It's the most wonderful time of the year. Everyone is out with their Christmas lists, slowly crossing things off. We caught up with shoppers at the Fashion Show Mall.
We actually stopped at some of the outlet centers and did some of that today. We went to a craft fair and got some things. My wife picked up some great jewelry for the gangs.
I'm a selfish shopper. We were looking at shoes, at dresses. I'm looking for a dress right now for Miss Universe, which I'll be covering the red carpet.
But it's also a busy time for another set of people, would-be thieves, cashing in on your holiday. General Manager for the Fashion Show Mall, Jerry Irwin, says not only is it Christmas season, but it's also opportunist season.
It's very easy for somebody to grab, we call it a grab and run. So, and that obviously happens in any parking lot. It can happen anywhere.
He's seen just about every trick in the book, and he's getting shoppers ready for what could happen. And Irwin says the key is to hide things.
Make sure that if they're carrying a lot of packages, put the smaller packages into the larger packages. Take packages out to your car. If you do that, make sure to put them in the trunk or someplace out of sight, so you know there's no opportunities for someone to see into the car.
Also, be aware of your surroundings. You'll be jostling with many other shoppers crowding any sort of shopping place. And while criminals might be getting smarter, the average Joe is also getting savvier.
But I did just read an article on Forbes that said that a lot of retail stores are creating new methods to catch thieves around the holidays. So if you're a thief, you better watch out.
Irwin and other retailers are hoping Santa Claus can deliver every present this year, without a few getting lost on the way. And following shopping safety tips extends to your computer screen as well. With as many people doing their holiday shopping online, internet crime has spiked to meet that demand. So you are precautioned to always take care. Gerard.
All right, some good reminders. Rob, appreciate that. Well, take a look at this. Floodwaters chased people from their homes near San Francisco. An early morning downpour turned roads into rivers at this mobile home park in Vallejo. It was too much for storm drains there, which overflowed, and those floodwaters did prevent rescue equipment from reaching the park. These pictures that you see here are only the tip of the iceberg. Later in the newscast, we're going to have more on the flooding issues plaguing the Northwest. Let's check in now with Jerry Brown, who's standing by in the News 3 Weather Center. Been monitoring all of these systems moving through. Not quite out of the woods yet, Jerry.
Well, for the most part, they're doing pretty well up to the north. As you can see, we have dried out noticeably. Not a lot of moisture on our regional radar. Our clouds situation, well, we're almost clear right now, mainly clear. Still some clouds up around the Reno area. Big temperature differential, 62 Las Vegas, 35 up there. But they've seen the worst of it in terms of the rain, and we've seen the worst of it in terms of the winds. We've still got some double digits on the anemometers, as you can see, down in Southern Highlands, Sunrise Manor, but temperatures still in the low 60s over much of the valley, mid 50s on the west side, 48 over in Pahrump. Bottoming out at about 50 here in the valley with mainly clear skies, so southwest winds at 10 to 15. They're not going to be a big deal tomorrow, though. We hit the low 70s today for afternoon highs, only in the mid 60s tomorrow, so you will feel the difference in terms of temperatures, but with the winds down, it's going to be a pretty nice day. In fact, we're going to stay mild throughout this coming week. Really nice readings for December. I'll put them on the board for you up ahead. Gerard, back to you.
Okay, Jerry, thanks. One man is dead after an early morning accident near Lovell Canyon Road. This happened before 7 when police say the driver of a pickup lost control of his vehicle on Route 160 from Pahrump to Las Vegas. The truck is said to have rolled and overturned in the northbound lane. A 29-year-old passenger was ejected and killed on impact. The driver did not have serious injuries, but was taken in for a voluntary blood alcohol test. The third passenger was not injured in the crash. Last night, a Metro officer had to spend some time in the hospital following a police chase that ended in a crash. This happened just after 7 p.m. near Decatur and Meadows Lane. A vehicle heading westbound on Meadows struck a police vehicle going southbound on Decatur. The police vehicle was using lights and sirens. It was involved in a chase at the time. The officer was transported to UMC for medical screening and released shortly thereafter. The collision, though, remains under investigation by Metro. Police want to end a nearly 6-month manhunt. The target, a man once arrested for allegedly strangling his ex-girlfriend. Crime Tracker 3's Marie Mortera has more on how he got away.
Jermaine Frederick was placed on house arrest for that crime, but that order wasn't enough to keep him in place. Frederick was last seen in June. The domestic violence case was from the year before. He's accused of fighting with an ex-girlfriend. Police say he then strangled her and pointed a gun at her as she was trying to leave. The victim escaped and Frederick was later arrested. This arrest, the second for him. Felony battery domestic violence makes up his rap sheet, along with assault with a deadly weapon, a charge he is accused of again. Can you help police catch him? Call Metro's criminal apprehension team or Crime Stoppers. For Crime Tracker 3, I'm Marie Mortera.
The Kansas City Chiefs beat the Carolina Panthers Sunday in a game overshadowed by the Saturday murder-suicide of Chiefs linebacker Javon Belcher. Police say Belcher killed his girlfriend. Belcher then shot himself in front of the team's general manager and coach. Chiefs head coach Romeo Crennel talked about the pain of dealing with the tragedy and why they decided to play today.
As far as playing the game, I thought that was the best thing for us to do because that's what we do. We're football players, football coaches, and we play and coach on Sunday. Our prayers and hopes go out to a 3-month-old Zoe, little girl who will never get to know her mother and father. So we're grieving for all involved.
The murder-suicide shocked a franchise that had been dealing with controversies and 8 consecutive losses. Tonight, the Taliban is claiming responsibility for an attack on a key coalition base in eastern Afghanistan. According to NATO, the Taliban fighters attacked Jalalabad airfield and set off a car bomb outside of a gate that allowed other fighters wearing suicide vests to get in. That's when they engaged with Afghan guards. At least 9 insurgents were killed, along with 5 Afghans, including 2 civilians and 3 members of the Afghan Special Forces. The White House and Republicans took some hard lines today in the fiscal cliff negotiations. Treasury Secretary Timothy Geithner appeared on the Sunday talk shows to sell the Obama administration's opening offer, but Republicans say it's no deal as far as they're concerned and expressing doubts they can strike a deal in the next 4 weeks. Brian Moore has that story now from Washington.
With less than a month left to reach a deal or go over the fiscal cliff, Treasury Secretary Timothy Geithner says the decision is up to Republicans on Capitol Hill.
The only thing standing in the way of that would be a refusal by Republicans to accept that rates are going to have to go up on the wealthiest Americans. And I don't really see them doing that.
President Obama's opening bid to slash the deficit includes $1.6 trillion in tax increases. That includes letting the Bush-era tax cuts expire for people making more than $250,000 a year. But Republicans say the White House deal is all take and no give.
We're nowhere, period. We're nowhere. We've put a serious offer on the table by putting revenues up there to try to get this question resolved.
Republicans want something in return, spending cuts on social programs. And with no compromise, Republicans say there will be no deal.
I think we're going over the cliff, and this offer doesn't remotely deal with entitlement reform in a way to save Medicare and Medicaid and Social Security from imminent bankruptcy.
Republicans and the White House still far apart and not much time left to resolve their differences. The White House says Republicans are free to answer back with a counteroffer, but it is a deal breaker if taxes don't go up for the rich. Brian Moore, NBC News, Washington.
Still ahead on News 3, Old St. Nick stopped by the Valley to pay some kids a special visit. But in the end, Santa may have been the one most truly touched by this visit. We'll have that story ahead. Plus, pounding the pavement, thousands of runners hitting the streets of Las Vegas, all in the name of rock and roll. That story coming up. And Ford recall, the automaker facing another problem with some of its popular models. Find out why they're calling some cars back to the shop. A visit with Santa led to more than gift requests and photos for some families. Tears of joy, in fact. Marie Mortera has more on a holiday tradition for children with special needs.
It's a quiet Sunday morning at the Meadows Mall. There's no holiday music, no sound of shoppers. For now, just sensitive Santa and a few excited families.
Oh my, that's okay, honey.
Jewelyn, 2.5 years old. She doesn't have a long gift list, but
just her smiling and laughing like that is like huge. Huge.
That was a gift in itself.
It was.
Especially after Jewelyn was diagnosed with autism 6 months ago. She doesn't communicate verbally.
I don't always get words from her, but we get expressions and emotion.
Today, many. Some are hip.
Did he give Santa a hug?
He gave him a high five.
Others, pure happiness.
Yeah.
Here you go. You're going to get a picture. Okay.
As far, I mean, he loves opening presents, but he hasn't had a request yet. So.
Well, with the look on his face, that was a pretty spectacular gift, I have to say. That was like Christmas morning, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And
definitely
for you,
was.
A little bit of a gift?
Oh, yes, definitely. Sure was.
The event, even a gift for Santa.
Gosh.
Who broke down in tears when he thinks of the most moving requests.
What do you say to the child that says, Santa, I just want some friends?
Now that's tough. You always know that Prancer loves you and Santa loves you.
A sensitive message conveyed in many ways.
Love you. Yeah, all right. Bye-bye. Merry Christmas.
Marie Mortera, News 3.
Oh, I love that story. Good Santa there. Some young musicians from around the valley gearing up for a winter concert out at UNLV's Ham Hall. The Las Vegas Youth Orchestras will perform the second in their family concert series. That's coming up this Saturday, December 8th at 2 p.m. And I'm told some of the selections will include holiday favorites. If you're interested in picking up tickets, you can visit UNLV's box office or the lvyo.org website. The Las Vegas Youth Orchestras, by the way, is a community nonprofit organization. The musicians, and I've heard them, they're fantastic. They range from age 8 up to 17. Thousands gathered along the Las Vegas Strip tonight to kick off the 4th annual Rock and Roll Marathon. The 26-mile race started around 3 p.m. today in front of the Mandalay Bay and finished off in front of the Mirage and Caesars Palace. Unfortunately, the busy traffic and road closures around the Strip had many drivers around town confused and at times frustrated. If you're heading out tonight, be aware that some roads, including Koval Lane, will remain closed until midnight tonight. Well, don't expect many new road projects to break ground during the holiday season. Instead, Tom Hawley has an update on some cone zones already in progress.
Easily the largest cone zone now in full swing is the Beltway build-out in the North Central Valley, where the 215 is being converted from a 4-lane road with signalized intersections to a full-fledged freeway. We're talking high-speed, non-stop, limited access divided highway. This $117 million expansion is well underway from Decatur to Tenaya. In this shot from Sky 3 looking west, you can see where the Decatur and Jones crossings are transitioning to grade-separated diamond interchanges with a straight shot up the center. A new bridge is under construction at Bradley, which no longer has access to the Beltway. Don't start new commuting plans just yet. Completion is still another 1.5 years away. A shorter-term project is closing a road in the Southwest Valley. It's just south of Spanish Trail on Buffalo between Russell and Patrick. It's not hard to see that this one is a no-go for through traffic. Road crews are digging deep into Buffalo for a storm drain, so that means complete closure both directions until Christmas Eve. Mind you, this is the lightest volume part of Buffalo, but still, for now, Durango and Rainbow are your alternates. We'll try to keep the Grinch at bay. No major new projects await this week ahead in traffic.
All right, coming up, the College Bowl selections are out. Randy tells us what 2 teams will face off at this year's Las Vegas Bowl. That's next in sports.
Owned and operated by Nevada high school graduates. We are Nevada's information network.
All right, the Chargers were back on the field this afternoon in San Diego, taking on the Cincinnati Bengals. Two teams going in opposite directions. Bengals looking for a fourth straight win. The Bolts trying to avoid a fourth straight loss, and the Chargers were in a hole right off the bat. Andy Dalton to Jermaine Gresham made it 7-0, but the Chargers come back, and they pick off a Dalton pass to Mario Williams, takes it back 31 yards for a touchdown and the 10-7 lead. Fourth quarter, though, Chargers down by 7 with just a few ticks left on the clock. They need a touchdown to send it into overtime. Instead, Phillip Rivers throws a pick in the end zone. Bengals hang on to win it by 7. Peyton Manning and the Broncos would win the division if they could get a win over Tampa Bay today. And Manning did his part. He threw it to Mitchurine for 3 yards out. That's an eligible tackle there. Peyton can get everybody in the end zone, apparently. Then Peyton finds a real receiver, Demarius Thomas, and he gets his touchdown there. And in the meantime, Peyton Manning also passes John Elway's mark for 26 touchdown passes in a single year as Denver gets the job done. They win the division. Tough week in Kansas City. Linebacker Javon Belcher's story, committed suicide and murdered his girlfriend allegedly yesterday morning. So Romeo Cornell and his team had to somehow take the field today and take on the Carolina Panthers. And in the game, it was actually KC scoring first. Peyton Hillis on the opening possession. First time Kansas City scored an opening possession since 2010. That's a long time. Brady Quinn hit Jonathan Baldwin on a short touchdown in the third quarter, and the Chiefs get their second win of the year. Despite all the bad news in Kansas City, they win it by 6. And 3-8 Oakland Raiders taking on 3-8 Cleveland Browns. Both headed for losing seasons, but looks like Oakland's going to have a worse season because Brandon Whedon finds Josh Gordon on a 44-yard touchdown, 10-0 lead. Oakland down by 10. Only bright spot is Carson Palmer to Rod Streeter, a 64-yard touchdown, but Oakland would end up losing by 3 as Cleveland gets the win. The bowl selection show is over. We now know who's headed to Las Vegas for the 21st annual Las Vegas Bowl. Boise State is back for a third straight year to take on the Washington Huskies out of the Pac-12. Broncos looking for a 3-0 mark in Las Vegas Bowls. They beat Utah and Arizona State the last 2 seasons. The Huskies are here for the first time. They're the 9th different team from the current Pac-12 to have played in Las Vegas now. Coming up tonight on Sports Night, we'll round out even more information on all the bowl matchups, especially the BCS Bowls. They're going to be good ones. More on the NFL. We'll show you more highlights and break down some more divisional races. Brad Keselowski, too. He was in town. The NASCAR champ, Kevin West, sits down one-on-one with the champ. And also, UNLV basketball will recap their win yesterday against Hawaii. They are off taking a road trip next. We'll give you a full preview coming up. And PGA season, the new one is just a month away. It starts in Hawaii, but the World Challenge in California, some golfers playing it. Tiger Woods with the backwards cap. He can do that because he founded this tournament and also gave him $4 million this weekend to keep the tournament alive. He does miss the birdie putt there, finished 9 under in the top 3. Graham McDowell drains the long birdie on 11. That put him in the driver's seat to win by 3 shots over Keegan Bradley to take home $1.2 million. But it's a big fundraiser for Tiger. Tiger's father, Earl, was the first tournament that he founded when Tiger became big. So this tournament means a lot to Tiger. So he gave him $4 million to make sure they can keep going for the next few years.
Yeah, I was going to say, you don't see a lot of backwards caps in golf these days.
Yeah, only because you're the founder of the tournament means you
that can would probably allow you to do it.
Yeah.
All right, Randy, thanks. While some stayed at home and watched sports, others hit the theaters this weekend. Still ahead, a look at this weekend's top flicks at the movies. And the 2 top winners are holdover hits. We'll explain ahead. Also, Larry Hagman put South Fork on the map, and today his fans got a treat as they paid their respects to the man who made J.R. Ewing a household name. Those stories and more next on News 3 at 11. The Ford Motor Company is voluntarily recalling nearly 90,000 2013 Ford Escapes and Ford Fusions because of a fire hazard. The car maker says there have been reports of overheating and fires in models with the 1.6-liter EcoBoost engine. The problem doesn't affect other model years or Escapes and Fusions with different engines. Ford says it's working on a way to fix the problem. In the meantime, Ford is asking affected owners to contact a dealer to arrange for a loaner vehicle at no charge. After nearly a week of devastating winds and rain, the West Coast is getting a bit of a break now from the dangerous weather this morning. But more could still be on the way. NBC's Jay Gray takes a look at what's happened so far and what may be next.
This morning, the water and worries continue to rise across central and northern California. For almost a week now, high winds and heavy rains have pounded the West Coast. Trees and power lines are down. Rivers and creeks pushed past their banks.
Everybody behind us has lost almost everything. Everyone's been evacuated, and it's horrible. I've never seen nothing like this in real life. Never.
It is an overwhelming reality for countless families. Sandbagging, trying to protect what they could, but many were still forced to find higher ground.
It is a helpless feeling. It is.
The rain has thankfully turned to snow across the Sierras, and even at the lower elevations, many areas may finally get a bit of a break after what's been a relentless line of storms.
The amount of water that has come out of the skies it's amazing.
And it may not be over yet. Forecasters warn in many of the hardest hit communities, more rain could begin to fall late today and continue through the middle of the week. Jay Gray, NBC News, Guerneville, California.
Yeah, big mess out there, but it looks like a lot of the tough stuff has so far, passed on. Hopefully, they'll get a bit of a break.
Yeah, it looks that way, and we're lucky the storm track stayed up to our north, and all we had were some breezes, and certainly they were noticeable this afternoon, but we also made it into the 70s, so it really wasn't that bad a day on balance. Let's go over and take a look at a live shot of the Las Vegas Strip, which has seen a lot of runners, I understand, today. I guess the wind's okay if it's on your back, but I don't think you'd want to run into a south-southwest wind at 16, gusting to 23. That's where they stand right now. Temperature at 62 degrees. Humidity has been up all day. We've had a lot of cloud cover, though. It is clearing out. Barometer is on the rise. There's the afternoon high, and you have to like that. 72, our normal 59 at this time in December, so we're not even in the ballpark. Way, way above that, and the morning low of 50 looks pretty nice when you compare it to the normal of 41. All right. You can see our clearing skies now as a little trough has gone through. Still some clouds up in Reno and the Tahoe Basin. There's a front up there, chilly air behind that, but we have the diminishing winds and a pretty nice forecast for this coming week. It's going to stay mild and, with the exception of some clouds, dry through the forecast period. It's been a bit of a mess over the northeast, where there's still people recovering from Superstorm Sandy, and we were looking at radar on that earlier. At least temperatures hanging now in the 50s, not too cold, certainly not when contrasted with the air out west, just to our north of that front. Some very, very chilly air. But for us, we will stay above normal for the next forecast period. 41, the overnight low in Pahrump, up that a couple in Indian Springs, 45 Prim, getting to the 50s when you move over to Boulder City. Mesquite looking at 50, same overnight low down in Laughlin. And not too many 70s on the board tomorrow. Laughlin at 73, but elsewhere 63 in Pahrump, 62 Indian Springs, 64 in Alamo, but the winds will be down, so it'll be a comfortable 64, 65, 66, 50. Our overnight low, mainly clear. Light variable winds tomorrow from 72 to 66, but lots of sunshine. Cooler, still mild, 52 at 7 a.m., 64 at noon, 62 at 5 p.m. That'll be down from the afternoon high and sunset at 4:26. Here's your 7-day forecast, and we look ahead, and this really does not look like December. Look at those norms up on the top, and then look at those afternoon highs within shouting distance of 70 degrees most days, with overnight lows in the 45 to 50 degree range. Cooling off to 65 next Sunday under mostly sunny skies. But hey, that is some nice December weather, and we're really not talking about a lot of wind through the period.
Yeah. It's trying to feel like winter, but it's not quite there.
No, it hasn't made it yet.
All right, Jerry, thanks.
Okay.
Appreciate it. A memorial was held out at South Fork today for the man who helped put it on the map. Earlier today, a private memorial was held for actor Larry Hagman at the South Fork Ranch in Texas, home of his Dallas character J.R. Ewing. Fans were even allowed to take free tours of the ranch before the service. Some even signed a memorial book, left flowers, and shared their favorite J.R. Ewing stories. The top box office spots this weekend were picked up by two huge holdover hits. The Twilight Saga, Breaking Dawn Part 2, earned more than $17 million to squeeze into the #1 spot. The Vampire series finale has now made more than $700 million worldwide. Skyfall, meantime, was a close second for the weekend and is leading the Twilight film in total revenue. The James Bond flick's worldwide earnings are now approaching the $900 million mark. And Steven Spielberg's Lincoln came in third, earning $13.5 million. It is that time of year again when a lot of us overindulge on comfort foods and sweet treats. But listen to this, you can survive the holidays without packing on a few extra pounds. Registered dietitian Valerie Edwards says, go ahead, live it up, indulge. Just don't eat like that every day for the rest of the holiday season.
For a lot of people, it becomes 2 months of overeating, and that's where the problems occur with weight gain.
Yeah, that makes sense. The other thing that can creep up your calorie count, drinks. A 5-ounce glass of white wine has 120 calories. Red will run you 130 calories. A 12-ounce beer will run you 150 calories, and it's not just the alcohol. We'll be right back after this. Finally tonight, a giant toy store kicked off a massive marathon this morning. The Toys R Us store in New York's Times Square opened at 7 a.m. today and won't close until the night of Christmas Eve. That is a marathon. That is 543 consecutive hours, longer than the store's holiday marathon last year. In 2011, this Toys R Us stayed open for 208 hours in a row. A lot of people want to buy toys out there, so and they 24-hour count as well.
You got it.